Oh boy, here we go again. Hey guys, welcome back to War Thunder, and this is it's early in the morning, I've not had a lot of sleep, and I am dealing with internet problems type commentary. So if I sound like I'm about to murder someone out of boredom, then you know why. Now this internet thing's been going on for about, well, a month and a half to 2 months, if not more. And I've given several phone calls to the internet company. They've told me various different reasons. Recently, the internet actually got cut out completely for like 4 hours straight. And it's one of the reasons why I haven't streamed. You know, for YouTube videos, it's fine. I mean, I go into a game even if I get kicked out. Sometimes I get kicked out in the most unopportune moments, but shit happens. The bigger problem is in a stream, you know, because when a stream's going on, my internet seems to work because I don't get disconnected from the game, but OBS crashes, like, multiple times. The last stream I did, which was the YouTube Cup, which, by the way, we won. Weird flex, but okay. We'll talk about that in a different video once I actually get the 100 on the Green Doom. But yeah, so I'll be in the middle of a stream, everything's going fine, you know, chat's nice and chatty, and then just bloop, it just crashes. And it's a huge blow, because, you know, you lose viewers, people get annoyed by it. I know for a fact, if I was watching a stream, and it crashed, like, twice, I'd not be watching it anymore. Regardless of how much I love that content creator, because it's annoying, it's obnoxious. It's the same as watching a YouTube video and having to go through 10 advertisements every time you have to click skip, and nobody wants to do that. So I did a bit of brainstorming, and I guess the problem is with my router, because it is a relatively old router. It's like a Linksys something, you know, numbers. Anyway, I'm just annoyed by the idea of going out there, buying a new router, installing it, going through the whole process of setting it up, and then, you know, the problem still isn't resolved. The biggest issue is my family uses something called WPA2 protection. And the way it works is that every time you want to connect to your internet, your router will check for the MAC address of the device. Essentially, every device, your phone, your computer, your tablet, whatever, has a built-in MAC address. Essentially, like, think of it like an identification code. You have to put that code into the router settings. Even just the word pisses me off, man. The router. It routes the internet. Fuck me. You know what? I want to see who can make the best tongue twister using the word router in the comments below. But essentially, the problem right now is that the current router has so many built-in MAC addresses connected, it's actually filled out. Essentially, if I had to get a new phone, or if I got a new girlfriend, or, you know, in that case, I would literally have to go and delete a MAC address from within the system. Here's the trick, though. When you go into the router, you don't know which MAC address is which. It's just a line of code. It's like MA-05-70. There's no way from that code can you tell which phone it is. In fact, the problem is that I've had about 3 or 4 different phones that I broke that are probably still registered on that router, but I have no idea which ones they are. So what am I going to do? Basically, I delete one of them, and I may have just deleted my computer, and then my computer doesn't work, so I have to use my other computer, which also has to be connected to the MAC address, so I can re-add the line of... It's so useless, but... yeah, these are the little things I worry about. You know, how is your day going? How about we go into the gameplay here, because it finally starts, the game actually starts. This is one of the issues with commentary, I think, on YouTube. It's for a lot of time, nothing's going on, and then everything starts to happen all at once. I don't know if this is just me, because it's not just my videos that bother me, it's everybody's videos that bother me, because the start of the game is always the most boring part. It's just nothing's going on. You're either just flying in a straight line or driving in a straight line, then finally things start to go. The BMP, I'm not going to talk about plot twist, because we're going to go back to it once we die on the IL-28. The only reason I'm using these BMPs and Warriors and, what was that thing, the Bradley, I like them because... well, I mean, maybe like's the wrong word. I'm using them because they're the most beneficial for then trying to get into a plane, right? The reduction point, the way it works with the spotting system. Man, the spotting system, I should make a video on that, but I just feel it's going to be a shit show in the comments, because I hate it. I don't know why it's in the game. I don't see any point in it. You know, half the time I don't even spot people because I forget the spotting system exists. Because I'm like, I see him, I don't need to spot him, Sure. I mean, I don't know. Also, what was the point of still having the ping system, right? Like, what's the point of having to open the mini-map and click somewhere and be like, yo, there's a tank here when you have the spotting system? No, I don't know, man. I think the spotting system should either be on all tanks default or a non-tank at all. That's my middle ground. But the R-28, oh my god, I didn't think this thing could be so much fun. I mean, I'm still pretty rubbish with these rockets, as you'll be able to see here. Rubbish. But once you get the feel for them, because every rocket has a different drop and a different like angle at which they fire, and you gotta sort of brainstorm it in before you can really start using them. Yeah, the spotting mechanic, I don't know, like, maybe because I play this tourney, the YouTube Cup, with the markers on. I'm a huge fan of markers. I don't know, I would love to see game modes with markers, because then it doesn't matter if somebody's playing on your queue, it doesn't matter if, oh, watch this, this is, whew, look at that. That's... I didn't even notice that. I mean, hit the Gepard straight in the track, no hull break, but shoot the side of the hill and you blow the guy up. Oh, poor fella, man, poor fella. I was actually wondering recently, because I was cleaning through some old footage and found an older game, and I realized just how much better we used to have it. Like, to start things off when you spawned into the game, you had to make a decision. And the decision wasn't which tank you were going to play, but which tank you were going to play when and if you die in the tank that you spawned in, right? Like, there was actually a mental process. It was like, shit, if I spawn a heavy tank in and I die, I won't be able to respawn anything. There was a time in War Thunder where spawning a heavy tank for 450 spawn points out of, I think, 500, how it used to be, if you didn't do damage, you wouldn't be able to respawn even an SPA. If you spawn the medium tank, yeah, you'd still have the SPA there, perhaps even a light tank. And if you spawn the light tank, you'd be left with one or two different options. But if you spawned the heavy in, you were out if you didn't do any damage. Nowadays, you could take any tank, drive in a straight line, get killed, and you still have the same tank to spawn in. And yet, at the same time, you could spawn a plane in, use every single rocket it has, and you still won't have enough to get yourself another one of the same plane. I think that's ridiculous. Because, I get it. There's a huge amount of people who don't play SPA and hate close air support, but you can't deny the fact that planes are not equally represented in this game mode. Of course, that's a problem that I would have, because I'm the one spamming out close air support, but there are all these negative comments to do with it. And there's two ways to look at it. I mean, if you have a negative comment towards me, my playstyle, my personality, that's fine. That's great. But if you have a problem against close air support, just because you're a bigot and don't want to learn how to play SPA, that's your problem. That's on you. We recently had so many complaints in the actual YouTube Cup from people saying that the only reason we won is because we used close air support. It's like, both teams had the same lineups. We had the same opportunity. God forbid that we actually played to our strengths, I think War Thunder, has tried in the past 2 years, and I think it started with that 1.69 fiasco. It's like we're trying to move in a direction where the real Chad of this game is the tanker. It's people have forgotten about Air RB completely. The game mode that started everything has been forgotten. Air Arcade, the game mode where nearly every player that I know of started in, has been forgotten about. The real Chad is in the air. I'm sorry. And hear me out, there's no ULQ advantage that you can gain in air battles. There's no bushes you can put in your plane to hide weak spots. There's a level of skill, I think, that outmatches the way the average tanker tends to play. Now, of course, there's no lineups. The complexity in air battles tends to be a little bit slimmer. There's the bomber spam, there's AAA that's broken, and yeah, as a whole, air battles has been forgotten because it hasn't been really looked at. Because I think it's not that the community is neglecting it, I think that Gaijin is neglecting it. There's three fundamental things that I love about War Thunder. I love doing 1v1 duels, I love playing top tier jet matches in Aero B, and I love using close air support. All those three have a common denominator, aircraft. because that's where I started. I started this game with planes, and there's nothing that I can do about that to change it. And yet, 1v1 tournaments have been ruined, close air support has been nerfed, and top tier jets are a clusterfuck. So, is it anyone's surprise that players like myself, and understandably there's not a lot of us because most have quit, those few of us who are still left, we're stuck in this constantly changing world we have to adapt to. I mean, do you blame me for not liking any of these mechanics that they're adding? Because I don't think they're really adding anything. The spotting system, the spawn protection, the helicopters and naval battles, the spawn point changes. None of that adds any value to what I want to play. When I see patches like this, especially the last 2 years of updates, I feel singled out. And I feel a lot like what I think simulator battle pilots felt like, when the game mode that they very much enjoyed was essentially removed and put into enduring confrontation. You know, it's still there, but it's not it. It's just some supplement. Is Pepsi okay? Perhaps the worst part of it all is that I did come to a potential solution, and that potential solution is one that sort of annoys me mildly, and that's custom battles. You know, in custom battles, I should be able to bring back most patches, should be able to bring back most of sort of the past game experience. Of course, having to omit certain vehicles, having to omit certain game mechanics, because there are just options for that don't exist in custom battles. There are things that are beyond my control, but in general, the reason why custom battles are something I shy away from is because for 5 years, I was one of the biggest grinders in this game, trying to unlock all this camouflages, all these titles, all these vehicles, and spade everything. It's in my core to want to receive experience for playing, to want to have, you know, a reward for what you're putting into it. And so for me, when I think back of all these patches, the best part about it is that I was able to have fun whilst grinding. And that, I think that if you can find a video game, or if you can find a hobby in which you're grinding and having fun, that's incredible. Whether it's playing a guitar, riding a bicycle, you know, mountain climbing, ski jumping, whatever it is that you find, if you can have fun whilst doing the grind that is required to get better at it, to reach the goal that you've set out for yourself, that's fantastic. And for War Thunder, we don't have that. That's why I've been sort of detoxing from the Green Doom, because I can't be bothered to grind. You know, it's not that grinding isn't fun for me, it's that playing the game mode that I have to play to grind is no longer fun. The grind aspect still attracts me, and there's other games out there that can fill that in. Hell, mining in Minecraft is something I find more invigorating and fun than trying to grind out something on a free-to-play account. And so, yeah, I do seek for moments like this to try to get that nostalgia back. You know, trying to get the feel for, wow, this is fun. This plane is fun. But then you make one tiny itsy-bitsy mistake, you get shot down by a Gepard, and it's no longer fun. And I'll tell you what the worst part about playing planes right now has been. There's never any planes up. I've noticed this sort of weird thing where a couple of people will play choppers because they're not particularly expensive to play, but I don't know what the point of choppers is. Like, this guy spawned in, he fired off one rocket, and he's dead. Like, this is where I have to ask myself the question, was that game fun for him? Like, I don't know choppers enough to know if that was a premium chopper or not, but if that person by any chance spent real life money to get that helicopter unlocked, only to have it be shot down by an IL-28 with zero effort, that's not fun. Same as, you know, getting blown to smithereens by a Gepard that you thought you hit isn't particularly fun. But what's defeating here is that even after shooting down 2 helicopters, killing 3 targets, I don't have enough points for another plane. And yeah, in the case of the IL-28, the one that I was playing here with those rockets, I don't think they take a lot of skill. They're relatively one-shot prone if you do hit the target. But what if this was anything else? What if that IL-28 I spawned in was just an IL-28? It had bombs on, they're not very accurate. What if I had to flight stock? What about then? You know, the image that you have of close air support coming from my content is going to be flown by a person with several thousand hours of experience in close air support, utilizing a spaded plane in an optimum environment. These are variables you're not going to have as a random player. And my question is that to all those people who so desperately hate on close air support, do you ever play it yourself? Because you see, funny enough, when I was collecting footage for the Seahawk montage, I was observing what my team was doing, what they were spawning in, what the enemy was spawning in. And I'll tell you that the amount of people actually trying to do close air support was slim to none. I mean, compared to the amount of SPA spawned in, compared to the amount of tanks spawned in, there was virtually no aircraft. In fact, this is something Gaijin could do because they are the masters of statistics. I would love to know what the average spawn rate is for a close air support vehicle in a lineup where the majority of other vehicles tend to be tanks and SPA. My general opinion is that nobody plays planes, and whenever they do, they don't have a good experience with it because there's radar-guarded SPA. And here's a helicopter, and we have an ATGM, and all we have to do is just pinpoint in its general direction, and maybe eventually it will just, well, I don't know, blow up? Yep, that seems to work. Did that take a lot of skill? Not really. Was it fun? Yeah, to a certain extent, I think it was. Is it fun for that Arado? Bombing? Getting one kill? Do you think that Arado is going to be able to get enough spawn points to, say, I don't know, spawn another Arado? I don't think so. And there's no reward for this. There's no incentive to play planes in Ground Up B. I mean, unless you're trying to make a kill montage, in which case you'll be spending a lot of time stressed out, not having a lot of fun. I don't see why you'd want to play planes. And in general, there's also a silver line sort of discrepancy. Back in the day when we used to play a lot of planes, there were more planes in the air, meaning there were more dogfights, it was more engaging, SPA had more to shoot at, and planes genuinely pay more. And that's why I was able to make huge amounts of money playing top tier. These days, if you're playing top tier and you're just playing tanks, you're probably making barely any profit at all. Because you're losing matches, you're getting killed, your shells are extremely expensive, and at the end of the day, you're making such a small amount of RP that is it worth it? So whatever your opinion or your view of close air support is, whether you like it, hate it, something needs to be done about it. Whether it's a decrease in the amount of cost that it has or the increase in points it gets, I'm fine with damage. Honestly, I think that it's great that we get a bit more of a challenging close air support time, that we have to actually use a bit more. There's a learning curve, and I think a learning curve is always great, but a learning curve at the end of that learning curve, there needs to be a reward, right? Because if there's no reward, then there's no point going through the learning curve. Then, if you have a Saber, and that Saber has the option of carrying HVAR rockets, then wouldn't it be logical for those HVAR rockets to be useful for something? Like, if we have modifications for vehicles that are not really utilizable, what's the point of having them? So I don't think the solution would be to now go and add air-to-ground missiles for a Saber. No, just make it so that those already existing features we have work. That's all you have to do. Work with what you have. And so I'll try to work with what I've got as well, and obviously fix my internet. Then I'll try to put together a couple of custom battle game modes. Perhaps recreating the old jet matches. Maybe we'll have a gander at ground battles with markers. Maybe look at smaller teams, and just try to have a bit of fun. Try to recreate and try to work together with a couple of methods that we could use to have a little bit more of a SEAL Club time. And will there be another kill montage made? Probably will, yeah. But I need to have patience, and a lot of time to do that, because at the current pace, it's really not that easy. I know that when you look at the final product, all you see are these flawlessly executed kills, but you don't see all the butchered up ones. You don't see all the, ramming the ground, getting shot at SPA. there's a lot of failure that goes into making these kill montages, and that's one of the points of them. You know, when looking at a generic video like this, I can show you a lot of the mistakes, but when it comes to making an actual kill montage, there's really not much point in showing you all the failure, because it's supposed to be glorious, it's supposed to be, you know, sort of flawless. So yeah, I think it can be really deceiving, because at the end of the day, you'll look at it and you'll think, oh, this is really easy, yeah, I'm going to try this myself. And then you actually go into a game, and, you know, before you know it, it doesn't really work that way. And then you'll be quite disappointed and demoralized, because you'll realize that the montage is seriously deceiving. You know, it's a lot of practice, it's a lot of effort, but most importantly, I think every kill montage, every backbone of a kill montage is in fact in its failure. All those kills you don't get to see, all those crashes and derps, that's what makes a good kill montage.